Okay, well, I've just closed all of the things I need to open, so I'm a genius. But welcome once again to Behind the Screen. Standard disclaimer applies. I do not speak for Onyx Path, nor is this project official material. All views and opinions expressed are my own, and this material will be available to buy on Canis Minor. I'm merely a grateful fan of the platform. I am disabled. I do experience muscle spasms, twitches, which, depending on which muscle group they are affecting, as they can affect any muscle group in my body. I guess that ticks more accurately, but it can lead to a worsened stutter and slurring of speech. I do also struggle with multiple trains of thought, so I'll try to finish one before jumping on to the next. If you raise a point or a question or any other interaction in the chat room, which you can see beneath my face, I'll try to address it or acknowledge that I've seen it before. I'll try to acknowledge that I've seen it before finishing what I'm talking about, and then address it. Otherwise, I'll just get horrendously lost in my train of thought. Neurodivergence for the win. I'm assured that some people can, in fact, remember what they were talking about 5 minutes ago. I struggle to be one of those people. I also aspire to be one of those people. So this is the 4th episode of the 8th season of Behind the Screen, focusing on Realms of Pugmire this time around, with the Canis Minor being the community content platform for Realms of Pugmire, and the name of the supplement, as you can see, is called Life on the Road, and we're doing a mishmash of vehicle rules, chase rules, a couple of like road-related callings, and yeah, maybe a background or two. There's some spells, of course, as a procrastination. Speaking of procrastination, I realise I've never actually addressed, or I very rarely address, why I cover the Monday meeting notes on the show now. Mostly it was just because I figured like this is a community-focused show, and airing and providing the information contained within the Monday meeting notes in a bite-sized format might be better for some people than reading a blog post. I don't mind doing that. It gives people something to talk about while I'm going through my spiel. And also, I get awful performance anxiety. I've been streaming for 3 years. I've been doing this show for 67 episodes. And I just still get awful performance anxiety, and going through the Monday meeting notes helps me focus for the writing ahead. So, with that being said, let's cover the Monday meeting notes, shall we? I'll provide the link as ever. Boom, there is your link. Important, like straight out of the gate. Of course, there's about 2 days left on the Sidereal or Sidereal Kickstarter. The link for which is here. I guess exclamation something would have worked, but there we go. That's already funded. That funded in something like 9 minutes. It's absolutely crazy. It's at $200,707 out of a $30,000 goal. So if you back it, you get a lot of stretch goals. Is what I'm saying. However, that does end on Thursday the 22nd. So if you are interested in adding to your Exalted 3rd Edition library, please do consider picking it up, particularly if you are collecting the deluxe editions. Speaking of Thursdays, and the current topic of the show, however, more importantly for right now, well, not more importantly, but more relevantly, of more relevance, I don't know. However, last Thursday, I went through puberty apparently. Last Thursday, the 2nd edition of Realms of Pugmire was announced, with a crowdfunding campaign planned for later in January next year. To quote Eddie Webb, it's been wild to realise that I started on working on Pugmire back in 2014. On the one hand, it feels like yesterday, but on the other hand, I've been living inside Pugmire for close to a decade! Exclamation point. So it makes sense to take all the ideas that I've come up with over the years to tweak and adjust the game, polishing it into its best possible form, and giving the game a slightly updated presentation. So that's taking over 8 years of game design, and feedback from all the crowdfunding campaigns, Monarchies and Metal Parts, Pugmire, Squeaks in the Deep, every supplement that's come out, and putting all of that good stuff together to, create a second, theoretically better edition. I have, firm belief in the creative team. I'm stalling for time, by the way, while I pull up the link for the actual press release announcement thing. Here we go. If you are interested in reading the full thing, it is there. But it should be good. Still based on 5e, and there'll be more information rolling out in preparation for the crowdfunding campaign in January. Another big announcement for Forumites. The Onyx Path website forums are being shut on the 23rd of December, so that's this Friday, to move them to the latest iteration of the forum software to fix stuff and upgrade stuff. So if you are a Forumite, please be aware of that and make your preparations accordingly. If you are not following Onyx Path's social media pages, please do consider doing so. They are sharing some TikTok videos of... there's a lot of Hunter TikTok content, apparently. But those are being shared via the various Onyx Path social media channels. So if you're interested in that kind of short-form video content, please do check those out. We are past the middle of December. So now we're celebrating the end of the 10th anniversary of Onyx Path with some classic Trinity PDFs for only 10% of their usual price tag. So if you're interested, hey Alan, how are you doing? So if you are interested in any classic Trinity material and you have gaps in your PDF digital library, in your digital library, please do consider checking those out. On the Pathcast, Ian Watson will be talking to Dixie about the Continuum itself. So as Ian is the walking encyclopedia of Trinity lore, that's definitely going to be an interesting listen if you have any interest. Redundancy of interesting. A fascinating listen if you have any interest in Trinity Continuum and its history. If you like the personal touch, several of the Onyx Path employees and freelancers have provided some Christmas wishes, so check those out if you're interested. I mentioned the Sidereals Kickstarter media this week. I mentioned the Pathcast. This week's Twitch schedule is a little light, but we are, of course, winding up for Christmas with a lot of shows. I'm here. All of these times are in Eastern Standard. So we've got today, now, obviously, my show. Hello, welcome to Behind the Screen. Wednesday, 6 p.m, Scion Origin Story Path Showcase with Hiromi Kota. That is pre-recorded. Thursday, 7 p.m, Trinity Continuum Aeon Vogue Force Salvation. And Thursday at 10 p.m, They Came from Camp Murder Lake, Merry Crisis. If you are interested in any Christmas tie-ins, by the way, last week saw a They Came from the North Pole game, I believe, story guided by Michele, who wrote the community content that I assume that the one show is based on. I have not had the time to check it out yet, alas and or alack. On sale this week, Melody Through the Mirror Shade Lens, a fiction anthology for Technocracy Reloaded for Mage to the Ascension 20th anniversary. It'll be available PDF and print on demand and drive-through. And if you're interested in just handy-dandy wallpapers or PDF versions of GM screens, the Scion Dragon and Scion Masks of the Mythos wallpapers and screens will be available on Wednesday. The wallpaper is fantastic for both of them. Unsurprisingly, the last Friday of this month, the focus will be Trinity Continuum over on Start Playing's Game Night with Onyx Path Publishing. The last Friday of the month is the 30th of December, so obviously you may be booked, you may be busy, but if you are not busy, please do consider swinging by startplaying.games/event/game-night-onyx-path and checking that out. And then, obviously, it's been a month, so quick roundup of development status. Brave New Worlds is in editing, as is They Came from Beneath the Sea, Beach, Tasty Bit. Brave New Worlds is a Trinity Continuum book I should have prefaced with that. Post-editing development, The Hunt of the Vigil Tending the Flame. Art direction, Sidereals. Legend Lore, Legacies of Earth. Deviant the Renegade's Devoted Companion. Werewolf 20, House of the Apocalypse. Squeaks in the Deep Companion, and Pugmire 2e. In layout, we've got Exalted Essence and Scion Realms of Magic and Mystery. Essence has a note saying the layout will start after the holidays, which I feel is a perfectly reasonable time to start any sort of layout. Proofing, we've got the Spirogos 5e compilation for Scarred Lands fans, as well as the Story Path Ultra brochure. And then at press, we have Trinity Continuum Adventure, the backer PDF going out to backers this week. Mage 20 Victorian Age is at traditional press. Press proofs are being reviewed. Print on demand proof is being ordered, or has been ordered. Scion Dragon, screen printing started. Dragon itself is at the Fulfiller. Wallpapers going out to Kickstarter backers. Mask of the Mythos, similar situation. Books at the Fulfiller. Screens being printed. Wallpapers going out to backers. Dead Man's Rust VT virtual tabletop assets have been sent out to backers. With Legend Lore virtual tabletop assets. They came from Beneath the Sea content creation guide for the Nexus, for the Story Path Nexus. So like tips, tricks, and advice on making TCF, BTS content. Squeaks in the Deep virtual tabletop assets. Contagion Chronicles Global Outbreaks out to Kickstarter backers. Ooh. I should be getting that because I was a Kickstarter backer, but it was a group pledge, so I don't know how that works. Exalted 3rd Edition Luna's Novella out to Kickstarter backers. They came from Beyond the Grave Monsters from the Crypt. Print on demand proof ordered. Trinity Continuum Aberrant Proteus Nova Compendium files being prepped for print on demand. Exalted 3rd Edition Adversaries Errata period ends on Wednesday. And as I mentioned, Mage 20th Melody through the Mirror Shade Lens Novella PDF and print on demand versions on sale Wednesday on DriveThruRPG. And the reason to celebrate this week was that it's the first day of Hanukkah, which is pretty cool. I'm going to hydrate, but here endeth the Monday meeting notes. I guess because I touched on it, I should probably explain what will be some changes for 2nd edition Realms of Pugmire. Refined and clarified rules developed after years of playing and community feedback. New and updated tricks, spells, masterworks, and enemies. New features such as random and template character creation, friendship rules, and safety tool advice for guides. And advice on how to create cat and rodent player characters right away, and converting older materials to the new edition. So those of you who are perhaps fans of Monarchies and Mao over Pugmire, you can be cat straight away. Obviously, more information, as I said, will be coming out in January about what's included and changes and design intentions. Delivery is planned for early 2025, so if you are interested in the supplement I'm writing, it will be compatible for at least a year before 2E comes out, and there will be conversion material anyway. And also, the joy of community content is that a lot of it is just standalone, depending on if it's... Well, I say a lot of it is standalone. Some of it is standalone because it is new mechanics, let's say, new systems. But there we go. But I think that wraps up the Monday meeting notes and important notes. So I don't need that open anymore. Minimize that. I think we're okay to get started with the actual content portion of the show. So please do, if you have any questions about running, writing, creating material for Onyx Path role-playing games or role-playing games in general, please do ask in the chat. That's what the purpose of the show is for. Well, I guess if you're new here, I'll explain the purpose of the show. A couple of purposes behind the show, really. One is to make me feel like I know everything. No, it's not. The main point behind the show is to demonstrate how one potential way that you can approach writing community content for any of Onyx Path's community content sites. If you want any writing credits, I don't have anything published right now, unfortunately. Get on the various people who are doing stuff in that to speed projects along, I guess. I don't know, don't harass anyone. I assure you, the writing teams are as eager for the material to be released as you are. And I have the greatest respect for developers who deal with their anticipation, the writing team's anticipation, and the public's anticipation for their product. So I have a couple of titles up on the community content platforms. A couple of coppers, a couple of silver sellers. So I have some experience. But at the end of the day, I can only demonstrate to you how I write. And I try to explain why I make the decisions I make, and try to be like, hey, this is another way you can approach it if you kind of feel like my approach is wrong, I try to highlight other ways that you can write material, or different thought processes you can have that lead you to different places. Obviously, I can't go through every possible permutation, because I do want to finish this book at some point. So that's kind of one of the show's primary focus, is just to be like, hey, anyone can write content. This is how you do it. You know, given enough time and support, I firmly believe anyone can write content. It's not this out of reach aspirational thing. Yeah, if I can do it, anyone can. I just happen to be fortunate enough to have the time to write the content, and to have the kind of brain that retains rules knowledge reasonably well. So that's one of the purposes. The other purpose, obviously, as you can see to the right of my head, I have to point left, but over here, is just to help with role playing as a hobby. The content is, yes, to demonstrate how you can do it, but it's also just to provide something to talk about during lulls of conversation, or if people aren't feeling particularly chatty. And there's never any pressure to interact in the chat if you don't want to. I know sometimes some people just have this on in the background while doing other stuff, and that's totally valid and totally fine. The channel is still benefited by your presence, and your lurk is appreciated. But if I have over a decade of experience in the hobby now, and if I can help to remove any barriers, I will do my best to do so. I don't believe in gatekeeping. I don't think that there's any great secrets, mysteries, or occult knowledge to be had in tabletop role-playing that shouldn't be shared. So I will share whatever knowledge and experience I have, and if I don't feel comfortable answering a question, I'll try to point you in the direction of someone or somewhere where those answers can be found. Largely, if it's related to an Onyx Path game, if you keep an eye out in chat, Nightbot does periodically drop the socials links, and one of those is for the Onyx Path fan Discord, Onyx Path, official Onyx Path Discord server for the community Discord server. There's a lot of words there in some order that kind of sort of makes sense if you cock your head and squint. But feel free to ask anything that any questions you may have about role-playing games. I'll do my best to help answer them. That's it. I'm going to hydrate again. Just as a heads up, today, the performance anxiety is really strong right now. I do suffer from some slight OCD, and well, it's probably the best way of describing it. So I'm trying to minimize by masking, by stimming and rituals, but it may my speech has gone all over the place. I'll be buying time for myself to think and to deal with the anxiety. So what is Pugmire? I guess is the best place to start for people who may be watching the show for the first time. I promise it's not always like this. Sometimes, but not always. Pugmire or Realms of Pugmire, is a simplified and slightly altered version of the 5e rule set. I guess because I'm not writing down, I can say D&D 5e rule set. It takes the core rules found in the SRD as a base, changes them, mixes them up a little, remixes them, let's say, rearranges them if you prefer, and is its own game. It allows you to play uplifted and through vaguely anthropomorphic dogs, cats, and rodents, birds and lizards. In the current game game books, and you are in a technically post-apocalyptic world where something happened to humankind, and you are dealing with the fact that your people are discovering technology that humankind made, but you have no concept of what it is or what it does, as well as dealing with the dangers of the world that perhaps humankind left behind. the actual fate of humankind is left undetermined, so that you can explore that in your games if you want, or you can just ignore it if you want. The three core, well, I guess technically four now, kind of core books. Not really core books, but the four books are Pugmire, Monarchies of Mao. So Pugmire allows you to play dogs, Monarchies of Mao is cats. Pirates of Pugmire, and Pugmire is a realm ruled by the dogs from the city of Pugmire. The Monarchies of Mao is a series of monarchies ruled by cats. Pirates of Pugmire explores the Acid Sea and adds rules for birds and lizards as playable characters. And then Squeaks in the Deep adds rodent rules. When that is released, we'll add rodent rules. And looks at subterranean civilizations, the Cult of Labortor, and mega dungeons. And what we're doing with Life on the Road is looking at kind of fleshing out travel and journey stuff, as well as adding a couple of things to the rules that might come up, not every session, perhaps not every game, but will probably eventually come up at some point in most games, and in the rulebook. Now, when Realms of Pugmire comes out, I fully expect these rules to be superseded, and that's fine. I'm not a future seer. I don't have the rules for the second edition from the future, so I can only do the best I can with my ideas. And as I keep mentioning, drawing upon pre-existing material so that you don't reinvent the wheel is always the best way to go. So the first thing I did when creating these variant rule sets to define how vehicles should work, using these rules anyway, was to look at how ships are built in Pirates of Pugmire and adapted those statistics to represent land vehicles. Because there are some nuances between ocean-going vessels and horse and cart that mean that they won't necessarily map one-to-one. So I took the four-statistic idea of sturdiness, integrity, well, technically speaking, hang on 1 second. I took the four... you know what? I should have had these PDFs prepared. I say this every time. And, guess who doesn't? Hit me. Yes, I took the four statistics that ships have of artillery, hull, seaworthiness, and speed, and went, well, most vehicles won't have a weapon on them, so we don't need that. So we'll replace that with a handling score. Sturdiness replaces the hull. It's the defense of the vehicle, or the games might call it an armor class. Integrity replaces the seaworthiness statistic from Pirates of Pugmire, and it's the health, it's the hit points of the vehicle. And speed is the same. I just abstracted it down to a much lower value for purposes of ease of comparison, and if we need to add them to dice rolls, we can. Mostly it was just for ease, though. The human brain is really bad at scale. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this. I have, and yeah, I'm sure other people have. It's not something that... I'm not a genius. So I try to keep things as small and as simple as possible when it comes to numerical values. So I just, yes, it's pretty easy to compare a vehicle going at 70 feet a second as opposed to a vehicle going at 100 feet a second. But if I can simplify that to 7 and 10, I'm going to, because that gives me more options down the line if I need to use those 7 and 10, that value of speed 7, speed 10, in other aspects. Also, some people just aren't comfortable doing mathematical operations with large numbers, and that's totally fair. So then I built some example vehicles. I provided the default because it's important to understand how I have arrived at such things. And then I provided 2 examples of a chariot and a caravan carriage. You know what, let's Let's rename this caravan cart. As 2 variations, and I explained the kind of design process and how I reached the values of those example vehicles, because I always feel if you're going to provide examples, you should probably have some indication, particularly when you're adding new rules into the mix. You should probably have some explanation of how you arrived at the values that the rules have produced, particularly if it may not be the most intuitive system in the world, or if you just feel like over-explaining things like I tend to do. But I'm happy with where they are. Also, I did some spells that are useful for traveling. They're more intended to be utility spells, which is why any spellcaster can learn them. But there we go, that's that. So last time I finished, last time I wrapped up, I'd started writing the chase rules, and I'm going to recap. Well, I'm just going to read out the chase rules, mostly to refresh myself, because it has been 4 weeks since the last stream, and also as I'm talking, it occurs to me that I actually forgot to upload last stream to YouTube because life happened, and then I wasn't very well mentally, which is regrettably why I had to skip last stream, and just stuff kept happening, and yeah, so. For those of you who are considering going into content creation on the internet, a schedule is important, so do as I say, not as I do, and I'm sure you'll be fine. Schedule? Regular uploads? That works too. Anyway, so, chase rules. The rules presented here are intended to be flexible, fluid, and applicable to many situations. I'm missing a comma. While I've included rules for foot chases and vehicle chases, they can serve as a base for ship chases using the rules for ships found in Pirates of Pugmire. If you're using the ship statistics found in Pirates of Pugmire, the handling score starts at 3 and is influenced in the following manners. Mental health is very important. Thank you, Auto... you know, Auto Defenestrate is an incredibly ominous username. It's a great username, though. Thank you. I do try to take care of myself as much as I can. Sometimes the... you know, I will admit, sometimes I fall into the content creator mindset of if I'm not producing content, I'm failing. Or, you know, any time I'm not spending producing content is a missed opportunity to make money, because this is my only income. So there we go. But I do try to look after myself, and Travis, the Plastic Age Plays, in chat, go follow his Twitch channel, is very supportive of making sure all of us streamers on the channel look after our mental health and physical health as well, and is very accommodating if last minute changes to the schedule have to be made. Yeah, so I've provided a calculation for how to alter a ship's handling score to fit with these chase rules. Obviously, it's not going to be a perfect conversion, because such things are not written by the same person, really. I'm not an expert in Pugmire. I have just noticed something I need to check. Yeah. Slight rules inconsistency. For every 20, that should be every 20 speed above 100. Every 20 speed below 100. If you prefer, divide the ship speed by 10, rounding down. And alter the ship's handling for every 2 above or below 10 accordingly. I think that fits. Rather than break everything to... So, this was the important thing. So, this is the part of the episode where some people, if anyone... I mean, I have access to the YouTube viewing figures because I'm fortunate enough to retain control of these videos and put them on my YouTube channel. So I know not many people do watch these videos, but one, I just want to say thank you to everyone watching this right now. Twitch live, Twitch video on demand, or on YouTube. But I do hope that if you are one of the people who don't like the rule system I'm about to discuss, for valid reasons, there's no, I'm not going to yuck your yum. If the rules aren't for you, the rules aren't for you, and that's fine. Please do at least consider, listening fully and engaging with why I'm using them here. So, I'm going to read, the rest of the chase rules and then have a slight digression, which will be a bit soapboxy. I'm just forewarning you all now. It will be it will be slightly me standing on my soapbox and airing my opinions to the internet. But there we go. So, rather than break everything down into a combat scene, which can detract from the frantic, fast-paced chase playing out at the tabletop, these rules assume all sides to be acting simultaneously, but use terms found in the combat system for consistency. At the start of each chase, each character is assigned a team. Usually this will be player characters and their allies versus any antagonistic characters. Antagonistic characters that are not allied with each other are placed on their own teams. At the start of every round, each character decides what they want to do. As long as one character per team makes a successful handling check, that team makes one progress in the chase. A handling check may only be performed by a character in the driver's seat of a vehicle or equivalent and used as an action. If a character is riding a horse, it uses a bonus action instead. A handling check is an ability check, but uses the vehicle's handling in place of that character's ability score modifier. If a character is proficient in handle animal, they may add their proficiency bonus to the roll. I need to edit this. If the vehicle is animal powered. Unlike other ability checks in Realms of Pugmire, a handling check is not assigned a DC. Hydrate. So, let's go into the weird and wonderful world of 5e. The 5e chase rules are not found in the SRD, the system reference document that the Open Gaming License, or the OGL, allows game developers to use for free. So, I guess quick breakdown of that. If you are interested in writing any tabletop role-playing games, you obviously have a couple of choices. You can make your own from scratch. You can write community content like this show does, or you can, make fan works using full rule sets. You don't make money off of them, but you get your name out there. But you may encounter the occasional legal issue. If you're going for the start from scratch route, some games companies, publishers, designers, I don't know the right word, because let's just say some role-playing games do provide, it's often called an Open Gaming License, but it can have other names, that allows you to use a certain amount of the rules from that game for free. You have to include the license in your game to be like, hey, this is what I've used. But it allows you to use certain bits of the rules for free. Now, the SRD is basically the basic rules of D&D, 5th edition. Actually, you can use the 3.5 as well, but as far as I'm aware, the 3.5 OGL is still active and applicable if you want to use the 3.5 rule set. So that's what Pugmire uses. But it's the basic rules. It's not the full rule set. So it's a free PDF. It's, like 400 pages or something. It's pretty comprehensive, but it's not the full thing. Now I say that, I kind of want to know how many pages are in the SRD. 403, but that includes some legal pages. And obviously on top of that, we've got the Pugmire rule set. But going back a bit, it doesn't cover everything that you find in the Player's Handbook, Dungeon Master's Guide, and Monster Manual, because they're not going to give you all that information for free, and they're not going to allow you to use it for free. If you do want to make specifically D&D 5e stuff, that's what the DM's Guild is for. And one of the things missing from the SRD are the chase rules found in the Dungeon Master's Guide. I went through the Pugmire books, and I could not find any chase rules in the Pugmire books. So that's what we're doing here. But the chase rules that are not found in the SRD, I cannot state that enough, are quite frankly kind of dull. They don't. hot take, a lot of D&D is good enough, much like the chase rules. They don't have any dynamism to them. It's a lot of, okay, you say what you're doing in the chase, and then you roll a d20, and I believe it's you make an athletics check, and if you fail, something happens, and then you roll on a table to determine what happens. And it's very staggered, it's very broken up, and it's not at all conducive to the atmosphere that a chase, at least in my opinion, should generate. So to get around that, I'm going to be drawing upon Powered by the Apocalypse rules. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Powered by the Apocalypse, the first game that used them is called Apocalypse World, hence the name Powered by the Apocalypse. And it's a widely used rule set that prioritizes narrative over mechanics more. And the resolution mechanic is you roll 2d6 for everything. And you usually have like between 4 or 5 stats, and you add one of those stats to the 2d6 roll in most cases. And that will give you, obviously, a value between 2 and usually about 16. Assuming you can roll 2 sixes and then a maximum of +4. Well, actually, technically, you can roll below 2 because some of them have negative modifiers. I'm digressing. But that Powered by the Apocalypse games have a soft success and a hard success system, where if you roll between 7... it's usually 7, 8, or 9, which is, for context, the average roll on 2d6 is 7. If you roll 7, 8, or 9, you get it's success, but at a cost. Or it's success, but something else happens. And then if you get above 10, a 10 or above, you succeed without complication. And D&D is very firmly entrenched in its binary, you succeed or fail, mechanics, because that's just the way the game works. And by extension, that's how Pugmire, as written, works. And there's nothing wrong with this. It gives you that clear definition of you have succeeded or you have failed. But by merging the two, the handling check is not it is a measure of how well you handle the vehicle. I mean, there's no getting around that. It's called handling. It is literally measuring how well you handle the vehicle. But it's also going to be this is how well you a measure of, like, this is how well you handle the vehicle and how well you deal with the world around you. So, yeah, let's start writing. After 38 minutes now, let's actually start writing new material. So I've got about an hour before I need to start wrapping up. So average roll on a d20, obviously, is going to be 10. Because that's just the middle value on the d20. Between 10 and 11, anyway. And average handling is going to be +3, because that is the starting handling value of a vehicle. There's no other way. There's no other thinking behind. There's no other rationale behind it. It is simply that. Proficiency goes, I believe, up to 6. I did check this last time, so I'm reasonably confident in my memory, but I'm pretty sure proficiency goes up to 6. I'm obviously going to double check. Hang on, there's an index, isn't there, in this? No, there is not. Never mind. You know, if I put this window where I can see chat, people could correct me if I'm doing things wrong. While I'm searching for the answers to my questions. Please bear with me while I frantically scan through the text. No, it wasn't under the proficiency section. It's in advancement. You fool! Me, by the way, I'm the fool. No one else. I don't want to insult anyone in chat or anyone on the writing team. It's me. I'm the fool. Yes, proficiency goes up to +6. So, if we take... So, average starting result on a d20, assuming perfectly average situation without adding a proficiency modifier, is going to be 13. So, I feel like having the success threshold be a minimum of 13 makes total sense. It's the default assumption of a roll. It's the placeholder. I mean, I want to get away from the DC. Actually, is DC even used in Pugmire? I assume it is, right? I don't remember it being called something else, but now I'm doing that thing that a lot of writers do, where they overthink themselves into a corner. Oh, it's called difficulty. There we go. DC is not the word. Difficulty is. There we go. A handling check is not assigned a difficulty. Hang on, there's something weird going on with the formatting. Very strange. How to phrase this, chat? This is always the difficult thing. After talking for 41 minutes now, actually putting proverbial pen to proverbial paper and getting started. Sometimes I do talk myself out of confidence, I will admit. Instead, handling checks use a scale. A range of results to determine how successful a handling check is. Any total of a 12 or lower is a failure. The team makes gains no progress, I should say. And falls behind as well as any narrative consequences. Progress, obviously, I haven't defined yet, but I'll get onto that later, after I've specified this, as well as any narrative consequences. Oh, that's what I did. I put the E and the Q the wrong way around. I was like, that word does not look right. Teammate gains no progress and falls behind as well as any narrative consequences. For results of 13. So 13 to 19 seems like kind of a big spread, but at the end of the day, just a D20 produces a much greater range of values than 2d6. So I kind of want the average thing to be, hey, you do make progress, but here's a little twist to that progress, which will, of course, necessitate providing examples or having a random... I don't want to have a random table because that will slow the chase down. But at the same time, if I have to, I have to. I'm at least cutting out one... well, actually, I could do it, like, for a result of 13, this is what happens. At a 14, this is what happens. That will be actually quite doable, and does cut down on things, and is probably not going to get repeats that often. Quite frankly, I'm a genius. For results of 13 to 19, the team gains 1 progress, and It's not an accident. Accident is the wrong word. A twist occurs. I'm just going to call it twist. Why not? See the twist table below. For results of 20 plus, team gains 1 progress. With no further complications. Complication, let's call it that instead. I was hoping autocorrect would save me there as I was typing, but it didn't. See the complications table below. In most cases, I believe it's GM. But I could be wrong. Sorry, I'm just going to quickly scan through. Right, PDFs have to load. Guide. There we go. Good thing I checked. Most cases, the guide. Could just use the entry corresponding to the handling check result. The guides are free to make up their own complications, or simply choose one that fits. Progress, in case you hadn't guessed, is just my way of putting a length on the chase. So we'll round out the progress rules, and then we'll have the complications table. Progress functions as a tracker for how well the team is doing, and is intended as an abstract system. It is not intended to track, I guess, specific distances covered. Intended to track specific distances covered. Or is one progress intended to be I guess covered, traveled, let's say. Nor is one progress intended to be covered at any particular time period. Rules here can be altered slightly to depict long distance journeys by having a single team, usually the player characters, make one roll per day, week, month, etc. The rules here can be altered to depict long distance journeys by... Oh, no. Assigning the journey a length in progress. Oh, Chris1 Gaming, thank you for the cheer. We really appreciate it. Apparently follow age is not a command that we have set up on this channel. I do apologise. Also, side note, it took me far too long to realise that it was follow age and not followage. There we go. But welcome. Hopefully you're enjoying the show so far. Again, thank you for the cheer. Assigning the journey length in progress and having a single team. Usually the player characters make one roll per day, week, month, etc. until enough progress has been gained. You know what? I'm going to have this as a separate thing. Welcome, have a great stream. Why, thank you. Have a great rest of your day if you're ducking out, and if not, hopefully you enjoy the rest of the stream, however long you're here. Yes, there are no hard and fast rules for chase length. I would recommend 3 progress as the minimum goal. And just trying to think how tabletop games play and how slow they are and how sometimes they feel drawn out. Sorry. Let's go with 6 as the maximum. But the first team to reach the progress goal... Progress jail. That's an entirely different kind of thing. To reach the progress goal, wins the chase with all the narrative consequences that may have. So obviously, if you're running away from people who are trying to fight you, then a fight happens. Or you get away if you are the winners. Just going to reread what I've just written to make sure it makes sense. Instead, handling checks use a range of results to determine how successful a handling check is. Any total over 12 or lower is a failure. The team gains no progress and falls behind, as well as any narrative consequences. I think this should be its own thing. For results of 13 to 19, the team gains 1 progress and the complication occurs. See the complications table below. In most cases, the guide should just use the entry corresponding to the handling check result. Corresponding with the handling check result. But guides are free to make up their own complications or simply choose one that fits. For results of 20 plus, the team gains 1 progress with no further complications. Progress functions as a tracker for how well the team is doing and is intended as an abstract system. It is not intended to track specific distances traveled, nor is 1 progress intended to be covered by any particular time period. There are no hard and fast rules for chase length. I would recommend 3 progress as the minimum goal and 6 as the maximum goal. But for the first time... there we go. Good thing I reread it. First team to reach the progress goal wins the chase with all the narrative consequences that may have. The rules here can be altered slightly to depict long distance journeys by assigning the journey a length in progress and having a single team, usually the player characters, make 1 roll per day, week, month, etc. until enough progress has been gained. I'm happy with that. So now I need to do a table. Microsoft Word, help me now. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Handling check result. Complication. You know what, let's bold and center that too. Oh, no. Please. The table, thank you. Let's go with... I don't like it. Let's go with that. Why not? This is only a placeholder. I just like having tables that look nice. I'm sure you can all understand. Okay, so now we need to complications, which is an issue. Uneven terrain. All team members must succeed at a difficulty 13. Ooh, I could use traversal. I do like traversal as a skill in Pugmire. Where is the skills list? I was looking at it moments ago. Was it 65? Yes, it was. I think we'll say balance or traverse. Let's go with balance or traverse. Constitution traverse or dexterity balance check. Must attempt a difficulty 13 Constitution traverse or dexterity balance check. If more than half the team fails, the next handling check. Wording check, traverse, not traversal. Yes, I realised, but thank you for correcting me. I mean, I realised when I read it in the rulebook. Full disclosure, going back to the if I can write community content for these things, anyone can. I've run precisely one game of Pugmire, and that was April last year, I want to say. I'm hoping to change that soon, and there is exciting stuff hopefully in the works for January, but yeah, that's all I can say for now. That will be on this channel though, so if you're following the Onyx Path YouTube channel, you'll get the notification when we go live. More than half the team fails next handling check. I don't want it to be made with disadvantage, and I'm always wary of adding negative modifiers because then you have a failure spiral. But I guess it is uneven terrain, so that you would be driving slowly. But then if you're driving slowly, handling would be easier. It's just harder to make progress. Well, actually, the next handling check requires a total of 16 plus to gain progress. Oh, you know what? If more than half the team fails, the team only gains 1 progress. That's an awkward way of wording it. I don't like punishing people for dice, rolling low. I like the idea of having the temporarily increased threshold for gaining progress, though. And also, just because I'm thinking things through. If I apply a modifier to the handling check, That will result in obviously a lower number, which will be leaning more into the success fail mechanic of the of Pugmire and 5e as a whole. If you raise the difficulty, I'm still playing with this success at a cost system, but just making it harder to succeed. And I don't know if my personal preferences are coloring. Well, obviously personal biases are always going to color what you write. You can't get away from that. You write what you want to write and what you want to play at the table. So right now I'm dealing with the internal debate of negative modifier could speed things up because you just flat out are more likely to fail, or raising the difficulty means that you're still going to be engaging with this system on the 13 to a 19, but you need to roll higher to actually make to gain 1 progress. I think I'm definitely going to go with that one and still have the complication. If more than half the team fails, the next handling check requires 16 to gain 1 progress. I guess 16 plus. A 16 or more. A total of 16 or more. You gain 1 progress. On a 13 to 15, a complication still occurs. There we go. So it's harder to gain the progress, but you're still going to have something happen on your turn beyond just failure. And this is a thing that obviously a lot of people have. I know I'm not alone in this feeling about anything based on 5e, where it's just you succeed or you don't, nothing happens. So I'm still trying to make it interesting without being too mechanically dense. And that's also why I've recommended 3 is the minimum, 6 is the maximum, because at most that's going to be 6 rolls per team. And obviously, on average, you're going to have 2 teams. So I feel like it's a decent compromise, particularly as obviously most combats do generally go between 3 to 6 rounds, but are spread out over a much larger period of time. So it's still mirroring the combat system while being its own thing, which is nice. So that was uneven terrain. I'm gonna hydrate. I feel like the 13, 14, and 15 should be more negative things. Just to kind of go along with the lower you roll, the worse the result. And then 19 is like, air quote, the best complication. But equally, I do like having positives and negatives kind of mixed in together, so it's more entertaining, more interesting spread of results. So let's have environmental opportunity. One team member may attempt a difficulty. Obviously, all of these difficulties are subject to change. Hang on. No. Not notice. Well, no. Survive. Should I add another thing to this? An alternative ability check? Not really. None of them really fit, unfortunately. One team member may attempt a difficulty 13 Wisdom survive check. If they are successful, do something in the environment. Too slow and opposing team. You know what? The whole point of this was to cut down on dice rolls. This one I'm happy to have a dice roll for because it's a negative thing. This is a positive thing. One team member may do something in the environment to slow an opposing team. They may choose one vehicle or horse involved in the chase. That vehicle or horse makes the next handling check with a -2 modifier. Obviously, these can be used against player characters as well, so I'm still trying to be reasonably careful with modifiers. May use something in the environment as an action. May use an action to interact with something in the environment and slow an opposing team. Which is one vehicle or horse involved in the chase. That vehicle or horse makes the next, or the driver of that vehicle. That vehicle or horse, or rider of that horse. Again, trying to cut down on dice rolls to keep things fast and fluid and dynamic. 15. Because what I think I'm going to do is the handling check. Just, you do that first. Oh, this is as long as one character per team makes a successful handling check. So multiple people can do the handling check, I guess. I wonder if the handling check should be made first, because that will can affect other things. Pros and cons. If it happens first, you know if you've been successful or not. But the con of that is then that someone else might decide that they want to do the handling check instead. Doing the handling check last means that you have a whole round to react to the last handling check, but it can result in you doing nothing on your turn if you fail it, obviously. I'm kind of leaning towards the handling check being performed last, because then we could have a complication of it mixes up the order. Yeah, let's specify. handling check must be performed, or the handling check must be performed after every other check that's been made by the team, and may only be performed by a character on the driver's seat of a vehicle or equivalent uses an action. And then so on a 15, I'm just going to call it speed increase, because sudden decline might not apply, because like it could be a sudden dip in the countryside, but if you're on chasing through a city, then it could be like icy and you just speed up. Speed increase. Next handling check must be performed before any other check, but up to 2 characters may attempt it, if possible. If they do, it is made with advantage. Is that the word? I know it gains advantage, I believe. Or is it made with an advantage? Something is tickling my brain and it's like, hey, it should be made with an advantage. Again, as I keep saying, a lot of time if you're writing material for content you're less familiar with, a lot of it will be flicking through the rulebook. And now, obviously, standard kind of disclaimer: this is an artificially extended writing process because I'm talking things through, I'm explaining things, I'm taking the time to fully decide, rather than writing it as quickly as I can to get just something out, because it's always better to have something. It's always better to have more content by the end of the writing session than you start with. And I'd highly recommend that you finish work before going back and editing it. But also, of course, I'm just flicking through the book because I'm not as familiar with the system as I am with other systems. And obviously, there's it's an advantage. There's just nuances to any system that are forgotten. And I'm still grateful to everyone watching this and sitting through the blunderings that's happening, the blundering that's happening through what could be one of your favorite games. That doesn't need an apostrophe. Made with an advantage. So I guess even numbers are trending, based on the fact I've written 3 things, are trending towards positive outcomes, and odd numbers are trending towards more negative outcomes. Environmental opportunity. Clear road ahead, let's say. One non-handling ability check. You know what? Let's just one ability check. You know, let's just apply it to handling as well. Next round, one ability check made next turn. Oh, I said I'd use combat mechanics. One ability check made next round. Gains a +2 modifier. Say one ability check or attack roll. Made next round gains a +2 modifier. I should probably specify here. A handling check must be performed. Every other check been made by a team at the end of the round. After every other check has been made by the team. Used as rounds, but doesn't necessarily use turns. Also, going back, of course, to auto defenestrate correcting me while I'm thinking about it. Incredibly important if you're writing community content. I say this every time, sometimes more than once per stream, to use the wording that the game uses, which is why I went back to check if it was with advantage or with an advantage, just because that's an important thing to note. The more in line it is with the rule system that you're writing for, the easier it will be to use for the end user, because people don't always know what your intention is, but they can sure as heck read things literally and take it from there. So we've had a handling issue, we've had a restriction of or an alteration of the handling, let's say. Actually, that's a good point. So handling, air quote, difficulty increase. Handling must be performed first instead, but can be made with an advantage. What other ways can we alter this system? The obvious thing is something that means that the person making the handling checks can't make them for a round, and someone else has to do it while they do something else. I'm also trying to make these vague enough that they can apply to foot chases using opposed traverse check, well, using traverse in place of a handling modifier. Where everyone's on their own team. So that's also a consideration to be making when I'm doing this, because I do want these to be applicable to the widest possible variety of situations. So that there aren't too many systems bogging games down. It's just like, hey, here's this one system. It should theoretically work for a lot of things, and the consequences are, or the complications, sorry, are vague enough that you could theoretically apply them to any situation. So like uneven terrain would be choppy water in the acid sea. Environmental opportunity could be, I don't know, making use of a wave. Speed increase obviously is just a gust of wind. Clear road ahead, just a patch of smooth water. Good stream, first time I've seen your content. Need to run to visit someone in the hospital. Have a good stream. Thank you, Auto Defenestrate. If you're interested in this content, it goes up on my YouTube channel. I believe the command is !bubbles. Yes, all of the past episodes of the show are in playlists on that YouTube channel. So if you're interested, please do check it out. If not, obviously you don't have to. Yes. So actually, you know what? Once I finish this table, I'll go through and I guess I might have like a sidebar about examples for foot chasers and for sea faring things. Anyway, so I need to go back to what I was doing. So this needs to be a vaguely negative one, or to alter the handling check in some way. Oh, I don't know. Let's go with. No, actually, does that work? In the grand scheme of things, is that interesting to lose a bonus action? Most callings don't use them. That's not terribly interesting. If you're making handling checks, you won't be moving anyway, so losing speed won't help any. It won't be an interesting consequence. complication, sorry. I don't want to just have a flat out, hey, you have a disadvantage on the roll, because that just seems, that's just a, I mean, yes, it's possible, and you know, thematically it's appropriate. It could be thematically appropriate. It's just, nah, heck it, you know what? Why not? So let's go with. I mean, I'm also doing negative things, right? Broken ground. The vehicle loses 10 integrity. Just gets damaged somehow. Why not? 18, more of a positive one. Let's go with... environmental obfuscation. The vehicle. And all... aboard it. Gains a +2 bonus to sturdiness or defense. Oh, that's right. Pugmire is written by an American. Is it an S or a C in defense? Chat, I don't know. These things change between languages. It's very confusing. Where did it go? Where did it go? Scroll faster. Get there before chat does. It's an S. I think basically if my inclination is to put a C, put an S instead. Again, it's +2 bonus to sturdiness or defense until the next handling check is made by this team. The vehicle and all aboard it gets +2 bonus to sturdiness or defense till the next handling check is made by this team. And then the final complication, again, this will be more of a negative one. Let's go with... hang on, I just need to check something. On Twitch. Really? Did that really just do that? No. Okay, cool. To the person who just followed my personal Twitch channel, if you are in chat right now, thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Yes. So as I was saying, last one should be sort of negative, because it is a complication, so I don't mind having more negative than positive outcomes. Also, welcome to this channel, Betty Jetson. Again, lurking is appreciated, and we appreciate the support no matter what. We are grateful for the support no matter how that manifests. Just getting the word out there really helps us out to build the channel, to build personal channels, and to just have a great time. So we've got losers health, we've got makes it more difficult to succeed. Been following for years, apparently have never actually chatted here. Hey, that's totally fair. I've got channels on Twitch that I have the exact same situation with. Mostly because I'm an awful chatter. I just prefer lurking because I generally have Twitch on while I do other stuff, but still. Yes, anyway, so, lose health. Harder to handle. Chatting is good, says the person who was here 20 minutes before the stream started. Don't think I didn't notice that. while I was changing the stream title. Yes, so, I don't want another you just lose hell. I mean, I guess I could just do it. You do the handling check with this with a disadvantage. It's like, it's so close, but so far. It's so close to success, but so far away from success that here's a punishment for you. However, I do want to get away from the fail spiral, so what I'm actually going to do is... it's not uneven terrain, but it's rough ground. All ability checks and attack rolls, apart from handling checks. Made by people on this vehicle or horse. By characters on this vehicle or horse. Are made with a disadvantage until the next handling check this team makes. Yeah, well, went back to sleep and now here I am. You know what? That is fair. That is very fair. We appreciate your support as well. I'm going to make this bold because I just think it looks better. I don't think it's an accessibility issue. So, uneven terrain, all team members must attempt a difficulty 13 Constitution, Traversal, Dexterity balance check. If more than half the team fails, the next handling check requires a total of 16 or more to gain 1 progress. You know what? As that is the only one that uses a dice roll, I'm just going to get rid of the dice roll. The next handling check requires a total of 16 or more to gain 1 progress. On the 13 to 15, a complication still occurs. Environmental opportunity. One team member may use an action to interact with something in the environment and slow an opposing team. They may choose... Oh, but then if the handling check happens at the end of the round, may use an action next round to interact with something in the environment and slow an opposing team. They may choose one vehicle or horse involved in the chase. The driver of that vehicle or rider of that horse makes the next handling check. Actually, you know what? Let's just do all team members. Any number of team members... may use an action next round to interact with something in the environment and slow an opposing team. They may choose one vehicle or horse involved in the chase. The driver of that vehicle or rider of that horse makes the next handling check with a -2 modifier. Each team member may choose one vehicle or horse involved in the chase when they do so. Handling check with a -2 modifier. Speed increase. The next handling check must be performed before any other check, but up to 2 characters may attempt it if possible. If they do, it is made with an advantage. Clear road ahead. One ability check or attack roll made in the next round. Gains +2 modifier. Broken ground. The vehicle loses 10 integrity. Environmental obfuscation. The vehicle and all aboard it gains a +2 bonus to sturdiness or defense until the next handling check is made by this team. Gains a +2 bonus or sturdiness to sturdiness or defense against ranged attacks. So the next handling check is made by this team. Rough ground, all ability checks and attack rolls apart from handling checks. Made by characters on this vehicle or horse made with a disadvantage until the next handling check this team makes. Spelling the text implies a mechanic. Would italicizing the text be a better option? No. So, I mean, this is all like personal preference. Obviously, I try to be as consistent as possible between what I write and what the official material uses. But italicizing text can be an accessibility issue for people with particularly like dyslexia. Italicized text can be more difficult to read for them. So I try to limit myself to bold. I've bolded the text purely because I think having the name of the complication in bold just separates it from the mechanical side of things. So if you do use these rules enough, you'll eventually know what each one, like the mechanics behind each effect, and you can just glance at the name of the effect. But obviously, it's just personal preference between bolding and italicizing for emphasis. Can I stretch this out another 5 minutes? I guess, yeah, I've got the sidebar to write. I think it was 2 asterisks, yes. If using these rules for maritime chasers, let's say. And the complications could represent the following. You know what? I don't think this needs to be a sidebar. I think this should just be part of the text. Similarly, if you are using these rules for foot chasers, applications could represent the following. Also, and then I guess copy these, do this, nope, paste that. If you are, oh no, do not bold that text. If you are using these rules for foot chasers, it is likely that each participant will be on their own team, and you should call for a... the only time I will bold things intentionally is when you are referring to ability checks. Convention holds that you bold it just for ease of, like, you can glance at the rules and you know you can see what ability you should be calling, what ability check you should be calling for, without having to read the text properly because you can see it's in bold. Constitution traverse check instead of a handling check. This check uses the character's movement for the turn. Because yes, it's more, I guess it would be more accurate to be like, hey, just compare speed, and if they're moving faster, then they make more progress. But I don't know, it seems overly simplistic, and there's a lot more you can do if you get away from that and just, you know, use this. I guess technically you could have a modifier for speed values, and I might think about that between streams. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as is. Uneven terrain. Rough seas. Make progress difficult. Environmental opportunity. Debris. or I guess it wouldn't be debris particularly on a ship, but it would be I mean, no, why not? Debris floating nearby can be used to distract an opponent or an opposing team. Integrity was broken ground. You know what? Let's deal with that right now. High waves damage the hull. Now, I believe the hull should probably lose a bit more than 10. Oh, sorry, seaworthiness. Oh, no, you know what? Each one begins with a seaworthiness of 100. That's fine. Reduce the ship's seaworthiness by 10. Obviously, while I'm talking through all this, if you have any questions, comments, or criticisms, please do offer them. A sudden gust of wind provides a speed boost. Makes steering difficult. Clear road ahead. Smooth. Smooth waters provide a stable firing platform. Ships also have lots of things on deck, like cargo rigging, etc. Exactly. I was kind of thinking I might put that into an environmental opportunity, like something is thrown close to hand, but it kind of isn't exactly what the vibe of environmental opportunity is for. Debris floating nearby, or loose equipment. Thrown around the deck can be used to distract an opposing team. Speed increase is the only one I'm not terribly happy with. I will be honest. I'm probably going to take some time between streams to think about it and fix it. Right now, it's not quite where I want it to be. Environmental obfuscation. Spray a flock of birds. Or a scrap of fog. Provides a slight barrier. And then rough ground, obviously. Rough sea! Unexpectedly high waves. That makes steering difficult. There we go. So on a 15, you travel faster, but you lose but then why would you have advantage if you lose control? Oh, let's say so. My feeling here, and we'll see how chat feels. On a 15, you gain a speed increase, which a second person has to help you deal with, if possible. And if they do, you just have advantage on the handling check because. You know, you're traveling faster and two of you are involved. I feel like I should have something if not. The do is made with an advantage. If this is not possible, a total of 12. Total of 11 or 12. Counts as a 13. There we go. It's just easier to succeed at the handling check. You know, let's edit this. Like, the next handling check must be performed before any other check. But a total of 11 or 12 counts as 13. However, 2 characters must attempt it if possible. If they do, it is made with an advantage. It can cause rigging and spells to shift. Yeah, so obviously I'm trying to just keep these extremely abstract. Sudden gust of wind provides a speed boost that makes handling a ship alone difficult, as sails and rigging move unexpectedly. Obviously there's more to it, but I'm just trying to keep this simple. Pirates of Pugmire is not a sailing simulator. And again, this is just personal preference, but I think it looks better and is easier to reference. Obviously, when it comes to layout, I might undo this. But for now, I like looking at bolded text. Okay, I'm gonna save because I haven't saved in the whole. I haven't saved the entire stream. I've written 700 words, so that's not too bad. Just as a kind of a rough guide to writing speed. Obviously, everyone's writing speed is different, and I cannot stress that enough. You will write more words some days than others, and you will write fewer words on average than other people do in a day. It's all valid no matter how, as long as you are writing. I know that I average between 1,000 to 2,000 words a day without pushing myself towards burnout. So 700 words in an hour and 40 minutes is decent for me. Ordinarily, I'd like to be a bit faster. Obviously, I'm talking things through, which does slow things down. So not to be pedantic, speed is a scalar, whereas velocity is a vector. Wind can cause the velocity to shift without altering the speed, because the heading can change, which is more challenging than a change in speed. That is true. You know what? Let's have that to be correct, scientifically speaking. I know, obviously, that most people would understand that was what I was getting for, but been involved in several sailing games, TTRPG plays. Have you experienced? Hey, that's fair. I know a couple of friends who are in a pirate-themed campaign using 5e rules. Velocity increase. Isn't like velocity just speed with a direction? Anyway, wrap up. Do the outro. Otherwise, I'll just keep going. That's the wrong window. There we go. So, yes. Standard wrap up, really. If you're here at the start, I apologise, but best place to go for any updates concerning Onyx Path and what they're up to as a company at the Monday meeting notes, as you know, suggested they happen every Monday meeting. It's a report on the weekly Monday meeting. The meeting happens according to Onyx Path community Discord server at about noon, and then obviously it's up to it depends on how long it takes Rich to type it up and post it, but it's usually up there by Tuesday morning. The big thing right now is the current Kickstarter for Exalted 3rd edition sidereals. Or side reels, I'm still not sure how to pronounce it. That's funded by like 600%, funded in 9 minutes anyway. And it ends on Thursday the 22nd, so if you're interested in adding to your Exalted 3rd edition library, please do consider supporting our Kickstarter. More relevant news is that last Thursday, Realms of Pugmire was formally announced as the second edition of the Pugmire rule set. Obviously, it's been referred to as the Realms of Pugmire for a while now, with Pugmire, Monarchies of Mao, Pirates of Pugmire, and Squeaks in the Deep all falling within the umbrella, but the book will be called Realms of Pugmire, I assume, based on the branding. And if you are interested in reading the press release, it is there. Things to note, lots of refined and clarified rules developed after years of playing and community feedback. New and updated tricks, spells, masterworks, and enemies. New features such as random and template character creation, friendship rules and safety tool advice for guides, and advice on how to create cat and rodent player characters right away, and converting older materials to the new edition. So your older materials will not be invalid, you can simply convert them. And if you're fans of playing cats and rodents, you can just do it from the core rulebook. Again, more information than that is not currently out. They'll be releasing more in the run-up to a Kickstarter in January. And obviously, when Kickstarters happen, occasionally, or usually, there are actual plays to highlight the rules being used, being crowdfunded. So obviously, keep an eye out for those on the channel. What else? If you are an Onyx Path forumite, or forum user if you prefer, the forums are closing on December 23rd, that is this coming Friday, as of date of recording, to migrate them to the latest iteration of forum software. So hopefully they'll be back up and running shortly, or as quickly as possible, and the bugs will have been fixed and repaired, and will be easier to fix and or repair in the future, should they occur. The Onyx Path social media channels have been resharing or sharing links to TikTok videos highlighting their games. So if you're interested in short form video content about Onyx Path role-playing games, check those out. We're in the last half of December now, so the 10th anniversary of Onyx Path is slowly and sadly coming to a close. This last half of the month is Classic Trinity PDFs, so if you are missing anything from your Classic Trinity library, please do consider grabbing anything. It's only PDFs, but while 10% of the usual price tag. And if you're interested in the history of the Continuum and the game line, Ian Watson is talking to Dixie on the Pathcast about Trinity Continuum and its history. Again, on the channel, my show, sadly, is coming to an end, but all of these times are in Eastern Standard. Wednesday, 6 p.m, Scion Origin Story Path Showcase with Hiromi Kota, who I believe is the developer for Scion, or Lime developer or whatever. That's a pre-recorded. And then Thursday, 7 p.m, Trinity Continuum Aeon, Vogue, Force Salvation. And Thursday, 10 p.m, They Came From Camp Murder Lake, Merry Crisis. On sale this Wednesday, we have Melody Through the Mirrorshade Lens, a fiction anthology for Mage the Ascension 20th Anniversary Edition Technocracy Reloaded, as well as the wallpapers and screen PDFs for Sound Dragon and Scion Masks of the Mythos. Friday the 30th is your game night with Onyx Path at Start Playing. Focus, unsurprisingly, Trinity Continuum. Other game lines welcome. And then the whistle-stop tour of the development status. In editing, we've got Trinity Continuum Brave New Worlds and Tasty Bit They Came From Beneath the Sea Beach. Post-editing development, Hunter the Vigil Tending the Flame. Art direction, in art direction we've got Exalted 3, 3rd edition Sidereals, Legend Lore, Legacies of Earth, Deviant the Renegade's Devoted Companion, Werewolf 20th, House of the Apocalypse, Squeaks in the Deep Companion, Pugmire 2E, in layout, Exalted Essence, Scion, Realms of Magic and Mystery, Improving, Spurgos 5e Compilation and the Storypath Ultra Brochure, and then at press, Trinity Continuum Adventure, Mage 20th Victorian Age, Scion Dragon Screen Book Wallpaper, Scion Mask of the Mythos Screen Book Wallpaper, Dead Man's Rust Virtual Tabletop Assets, Legend Lore Virtual Tabletop Assets, Squeaks in the Deep Virtual Tabletop Assets, They Came From Beneath the Sea Content Creation Guide for content creation purposes, Contagion Chronicles Global Outbreaks, Exalted 3rd Edition Lunas Novella, They Came From Beyond the Grave Monsters from the Crypt, Trinity Continuum Aberrant Proteus Nova Compendium, Exalted 3rd Edition Adversaries, and the Technocracy Reloaded Anthology. Now, if you have enjoyed the stream, please do consider following Onyx Path. If you're watching this on YouTube, the link's in the video description, but it is twitch.tv/the Onyx Path. All of your follows are gratefully appreciated. If you have enjoyed the show, please, but missed like the start of it or had to go away and came back, if you are not a subscriber on Twitch, you will have to wait a week, and then you can watch the Twitch video on demand, or theoretically it will be, actually I can guarantee it won't be live on my YouTube channel after a week, because next Tuesday is the 27th of December, and I'm on holiday. So you'll have to wait till the first week of January for this video to go up on my YouTube channel. That would be the link that is appearing in chat right now. But that's where all of these videos are archived for posterity and for rewatching if you want to. If you do want to watch it before that week is up, please do consider subscribing to the Onyx Path on Twitch. You can if you have Amazon Prime, you can link it to your Twitch account for a Prime Gaming account. Prime Gaming, on top of giving you some free games and in-game content, does also give you one free subscription a month. It functions exactly as a tier 1 subscription for you and for the channel involved, with the exception that you have to renew it manually if you want to keep supporting the same channel. But subscribers to this channel get emotes, they get access to videos on demand for a week before the public, and also, I believe, a subscriber exclusive channel on the Discords, on the Onyx Path Discord server. Really, that's it. If you have enjoyed today's show, please do come back. Obviously, this show is fortnightly, every other Tuesday. I might be airing on the 3rd of January. I haven't yet decided. I might take. It depends. I think my partner's working then, so I don't see why I wouldn't be. But Christmas is also a very stressful time for me, so I might need a mental health day. But keep an eye out on Onyx Path social media channels. I'm on Twitter at Comrade Bubbles. I'm also on Tumblr as Comrade Bubbles and co-host as Comrade Bubbles. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, or co-host, it's the yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. And I'll try to I try to let people know in advance if I'm going to be making the show through those channels. I'm also happy to just talk role-playing games on those social media channels. I do also stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/ComradeBubbles. I stream variety games. Right now, I am 40 hours into Breath of the Wild. My light at the end of the tunnel is a scheduled break towards the end of January, and I'll be going live in about half an hour on my own channel with some Breath of the Wild. If you have any lingering questions you would like to ask, or comments, criticism, what have you, about the content you've seen today. But I think that's it. Yes, if you... You know what? I don't do this anywhere near often enough. Please bear with me while I grab a link. Have a very nice holiday. Thank you, Alan. You too. If you do want to support the show, I do have a Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/moonlitbard. I'm not going to share the link for that because, you know, I don't feel comfortable doing that. Yeah. ko-fi.com/moonlitbard. Or if you want to support me in a more like tabletop roleplay sense, and you're not a huge fan of D&D 5e, because that's mostly what my Ko-Fi content is right now, why not pick up something I have released on DriveThru on the community content platforms? If you are a Pugmire fan, I contributed to Monty Corgi's Acid Shanties. Highly recommend that if you're doing any Pirates of Pugmire content. You get some additional birds, some additional lizard families. You get some additional callings, some pre-made ships, some pre-made NPCs, some magic items. It's all there. It's $4.95. And it was a blast to work on with the creative team involved. That's all community content, by the way. It's not official. That is the only Pugmire content I have released thus far, regrettably. But if you do pick up any of my material, please do consider leaving a rating and or a review. As a side note, if you have a publisher account, you cannot leave reviews. So please use a non-publisher account. It helps us out as community content writers immeasurably. Yes, so all that remains is for me to say, please pet your pets, tell them they're good pets. Please do stay safe, healthy, wholesome. Please do come back for the next show, obviously in 2 weeks' time, or whenever it is. I've really appreciated having you here. Hopefully it has been mildly entertaining and or enlightening. And I hope you all have a great festive period. Hopefully the only illnesses involved are food comas. But until next time, goodbye. Oh, stick around for the post roll if you missed what's coming out on the channel. It's got some great promotional artwork. Particularly, as ever, Devil's Luck Gaming marketing is on point. But I'll see you around.